Welcome to Lenovo Unboxed 2012. We're about to bust out one of the most magnificent, and you could even say historic, products, I believe, that's ever come out under the ThinkPad name.
That's how you could go there. Yeah.
And it's called the X1 Carbon. We're here with Kevin Beck, product ambassador, and Richard LeBennett, product manager. Nice to see you guys.
Good to see
Excellent.
you.
Where do we start, Kevin?
All right. Tell you what. Let's go ahead and get into this real quick. I'll let Richard give us a little overview of what the product is while I start digging into the box.
All right. So we're getting ready to open up the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. It is the thinnest ThinkPad we've produced to date. It is the lightest 14-inch Ultrabook. So two very big milestones. We're really excited about this. It's a culmination of 20 years of engineering. So it's a big, pretty big deal for ThinkPad and for all of us here in Morrisville and over in China.
All right, so we're going to dig in here. I won't talk too much about the ship group. I know we talked about it. You want to comment on this, Richard, right here?
This is our, of course, this is our AC adapter. It's a 90-watt AC adapter. This helps to power the system. Yep. We've got a new, very thin square connector this year, so we're introducing that first time ever on the ThinkPad X1 Carbon.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Our recycled and recyclable packaging that
Awesome
I'm fond of talking about.
Very
and
green.
Here we go.
Yikes.
Oh. Nice.
Wow. I have to say, I haven't been this close to the X1 Carbon yet. I've seen the pictures, but it's even smaller in person than I imagined.
Yeah.
It's a wisp.
Right. So this is, of course, the carbon fiber Ultrabook that we're calling it. It's 14 inches. As you can see, very sleek, very slim, and pretty stylish, I would say. And I may be biased, but
maybe just a little bit.
Just a little
Heck
bit.
yes on that, on both counts.
Like I say, I've seen a lot of ThinkPads, and so far this is just it as far as I'm concerned.
Hey Kev, real quick, could you guys talk about the carbon fiber while we've got it closed still? We talked about this is the 20th year of ThinkPad,
right.
And carbon fiber is not new to the ThinkPad line by any means, but tell us a little bit about that.
No, absolutely not. We've used carbon fiber in some form or another back to the very first ThinkPad, the 700C, in 1992. So it's something that we've always used as much as we could in certain lines of ThinkPad because it has some great attributes, if you will. Really light, really strong, but expensive. Right. So we've taken a lot of steps, in-house research, development in new ways of manufacturing and implementing carbon fiber, to get it down to something that we can use in even more of them. Because we want the strength and the resiliency and the reliability and the durability and everything to come along with it. It's just, been a 20-year journey to get to this point.
Yeah. A balancing act of sorts for the designers, right?
A lot of work into that.
Yep. All right. Where should we go next?
What do you want to talk about? Do we want to do ports? Do we want to open it up and take a look inside?
Yeah, let's just briefly go around the outside.
Okay, let's go around the outside. So on this side, we've got an SD card reader and a mini display port, your combo audio, and your USB 3 port. So we try to keep it slim, very essential ports. On the back, you've got your SIM card reader. So this door opens up. You can put your 3G SIM card in there. And then on the next side over here, we've got a USB 2.0 powered always-on port and your wireless switch. So very simple but essential ports on your Ultrabook here.
What's the significance of the always-on port? I've seen that before. I'm not sure I entirely knew what it meant.
Right. So the always-on port really basically when your notebook is plugged in, it's powered off, you can still power your phone or some other peripheral through that port. So it just keeps you active, keeps you going.
Sure. Okay.
All right. Shall we open her up?
Let's.
All right. So I'll stop and get a little shot there of how thin the top screen is. Most of that thinness, but yet the strength and rigidity of it, very much attributable to that copious use of carbon fiber. All right, so we've got our first look inside the system here. For those of you who have not yet seen a current generation ThinkPad, you will notice that we've switched to a new, what are we calling this, Richard? The ThinkPad
Precision keyboard?
ThinkPad Precision Keyboard.
Yes, sir.
So I know, Gav, you've written a few blog posts about this.
Right.
Some folks embrace change. Some folks are a little less enthusiastic about it. But the one thing I would say from my standpoint, having spent literally hours in Japan within the past few months talking to the engineers who designed this, There's not much. There are not many things about this that got as much focus, quite honestly, as the keyboard in this. Just making sure that as we got this thinner than anything we'd ever done before, that the keyboard still had that signature ThinkPad responsiveness and the force curve. And I may have said this in another video before, but we literally have the world's most boring lab test to test the consistency of our keys from key to key to machine. Is there's a machine that comes down and tests the amount of force that it takes to press the key down, and then the force that it exerts coming back up. And one cycle of that thing is 2.5 minutes, right? And we do it on every keyboard just to test and make sure that it feels like a ThinkPad.
It sounds duller than an unboxing video.
Yes, yeah, it's not the world's most exciting thing to watch, but you know, to indulge in a little bragging here, indicative of the depth to which these guys go in our engineering labs to make sure that these things are right before we put them out on the market.
Obviously, the level of attention that's been given to it. I know the earlier iteration of this keyboard on the original X1 last year was called the greatest laptop keyboard ever by Laptop Magazine. So
the Stradivarius of
yeah,
keyboards.
That's right.
Right.
Okay. So, and talk to us about the display, guys. It's one topic that's come up that I was real interested in.
Right. So we're really excited about this display, namely because it's an HD Plus 1600 by 900 display. Last year, with the original X1, we had a glossy 1366 by 768. We heard a lot of feedback from our customers, a lot of feedback from users that they wanted a higher resolution panel and one that didn't have the glare on it. So we think we hit the nail on the head with this one and came out with something that's really it's going to be enjoyable. It's going to be bright and it's going to look really good.
Right. And also, while this is a 13-inch classic form factor of a notebook, the screen is actually 14 inches, right?
The screen is 14 inches. So it's still in a 13-inch. I call it a 13-inch form factor because a lot of the 13-inch Ultrabooks are in the same size. They've got the same footprint, but we fit an extra inch of screen in here.
Yep.
We mentioned the carbon fiber earlier. What other durability features should we call out here? Obviously, some people are very familiar with ThinkPad's history of ruggedness, but name check a couple of those if you guys could.
Okay. Right. So we've got our hinges, of course. Hinges, it's never really sexy to talk about hinges, right? But you spend the majority of the life of this notebook opening and closing it. So we test this over 30,000 times, make sure that you can close it, open it, close it, open it. It's going to last. The keyboard, of course, is spill-proof, so it can take about a cup of coffee if you spill it in there and it won't die. Of course,
please don't do that.
Please
on purpose,
don't do it on purpose. But
every single time,
accidents happen.
Classic ThinkPad attribute. There.
Right. We try to build that in, and all around it's just it's mil-spec tested and it's ThinkPad tested. So it's built to last.
Blown with dust, baked, frozen, all the usual things that
vibrated, shaken. You know, that's one of the things that I've actually spent a lot of time going through with customers on this. Is there are a lot of Ultrabooks in the market, right? We're not going to name check anybody in particular, but to do it the way we did it, I had a personal conversation with one of the product managers in Japan on this product, and he said, you know, I've been around 15, 20 years, however long he's been around, and he says, I've never heard so many people use the word impossible when it came to the development process on this, but obviously they got it done. But it was, to make a long story short, a huge challenge to get something, and sanity check me on the specs here, Richard. We're at 19 millimeters.
Just under 19, so 18.8 millimeters.
Okay, just under 19 millimeters and just a hair under 3 pounds.
Right, just a hair.
Right, so to get all of that in this chassis with a new type weave is the wrong word, new implementation of carbon fiber, and to get the keyboard right and have it feel like all the other ThinkPads, and to have it pass all the standard ThinkPad torture test and to pass the 8 mil-spec tests, that was not an easy thing to do.
No doubt.
All right, so they're fairly happy with themselves,
Those
and
guys are earning their
I think
keep,
deservedly so.
Yeah.
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
So a couple other things, guys, and then I know we want to move this along. We don't want to ramble any more than we have in some of our previous ones. We're conscious of that. But talk to me about the battery life and the rapid charge that we have for the battery, and the connectivity options as well. And then let's maybe do an egregiously beautiful profile shot of it, and then boot the thing up.
Okay, sounds good. So we've got 7 hours of battery life on the X1 Carbon, and of course the rapid charge function is, I think that's essential for people who are going to buy an Ultrabook, right? Because you're always on the go. You want something that's mobile. You want something that can keep up with you. And the rapid charge function especially helps with that because it can give you charge up to 80% in around 35 minutes. So that's, if you start with the
from
a dead battery, you can
Okay.
get 5.5 hour charge in 35 minutes. So that's pretty impressive for me. You
Good
can
for
use it
airport layover.
between a layover,
Yeah.
between meetings, between or whenever you need a quick charge, you've got it.
Right.
So
we got, of course, full suite of wireless LAN offerings.
Right.
And very uncommonly in this thinness of notebook, we also have wireless WAN as well.
3G connected, 3G
Right.
3G mobile broadband. So I think that's also unique in this kind of space because everyone can't fit those antennas into the the form factor.
Okay.
Right.
Well, let's if one of you guys wants to hold it up and for again a sort of a long, slow shot of the profile, and we'll show off that slim profile. And then we're going to take
here and kind of close it down on camera.
There you go.
We want to. I definitely want to get a shot of it open all the way.
Yep.
Right.
Oh yeah, good point.
One other
point
thing
about the hinges, right?
It's not everyone's usage model, but there are some cases and some users for whom this is important. Also not particularly common in the Ultrabook world.
Right.
Something that'll open full flat.
Exactly.
Very
And to your point, the engineers in Japan are just they love to be able to do this and say that we can do it because it's just how difficult it is to manufacture that.
Yep. And for any of you guys who look at our Lenovo blogs, you can check out several posts that we've had from the Japan team. We call them the Yamato team, even though they're no longer in Yamato. They're in, is it Yokohama?
They're in Yokohama.
But there's a few posts on there about the design, the engineering, and everything that went into this, and some really sort of frank discussions about what they went through.
Right.
All right.
Guys, anything else before we take a quick cut and boot it up?
No, we'll close it down, boot it up, and be back in just a sec.
Right?
Cool.
All right, we're back. We've done a little bit of configuring in our first boot up of the X1 Carbon. And we just wanted to point out a couple more things for you guys before we sign off. Kevin, you want to start it?
All right. Well, I'll let Richard fill in the rest of the machine, but I just want to point out you've seen this sitting here beside the system the whole time. This is our latest USB 3.0 dock. USB 3.0 port, obviously, on the X1 Carbon, but no classic kind of click-it-in docking port.
Right.
Too thin for that. So we're going to do a separate video on this. Folks, look for it in the feed. Just to point out, we've got a dock here, 2 USB 3.0 on the front, headphone jack, got our USB cable plugged in here, 3 more USB 3.0, Ethernet, and 2 fully independent DVI displays.
Right.
So...
This is home base.
Yep, this is home base. So this is one plug, and you've got your monitors, your mouse,
hard drive,
printer,
toaster,
coaster, what do you want?
Keyboard.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and then we'll wrap up on the X1 Carbon itself.
Okay. So what you get to see here is live in action, the HD Plus 1600 by 900, 300 nit panel. So it's very bright, very crisp.
Right.
And again, it's 14 inches, so really nice. We talked about the keyboard. Of course, it's backlit. I think we'll show that in a little bit.
2 levels of brightness.
2 levels of brightness. So brand new precision keyboard and a very, very large glass touchpad. So that's a new touchpad design that we're introducing on the X1 Carbon as well.
Vanna White action here.
So trying to improve
Nice
the user experience as we get into these Ultrabooks and try to keep pushing the ball forward. So.
Well, that's the story, guys. ThinkPad X1 Carbon in the 20th year of ThinkPad. This is basically our flagship product, and we hope you've enjoyed it.
All right, thanks.